Folks, welcome to So Bad It's Good. I have a very serious voice because we've bumped up the Traitors recap to today, Friday. Screw Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. We're doing the Traitors right now. And we have just watched the finale and the reunion. And we have Bergie with us for the final episode. He's flying out in like 3 or 4 hours, and he's staying up late to do this with us. He just drank a Prime, so I'm worried for his heart right now. And I have not talked to Bergie at all about this episode. So I'm getting my first window into how he feels about this right now. How did you feel about the finale?
I personally think this is the best Traitors finale we've had in all 4 seasons. You can disagree. I don't care. I thought Cirie, when I was watching it, I had no doubt Cirie was going to win. I thought she was going to win with Ari. So there was that cool expectation of the twist at the end. Same thing with season 2. I'm like, okay, they got Kate out. Season 3 wasn't that crazy of a finale. I even gave it a 6 out of 10 last year. I went back and looked. I gave it a 6 out of 10 on the podcast. This was the best finale I think we've seen from Traitors.
Okay, season 1, I mean, the Cirie being a complete traitor to the other people was amazing. I think Cirie's such a goat in competition reality shows. Season 2, for some reason, it was very gripping because emotionally, I thought it was really, kind of beautiful with Trishelle. I mean, the Mercedes of it all, and then Trishelle and I'm blanking on his name right now. What's CT, Trishelle and CT, just because of the history they had in reality TV. I will say tonight, even though we talked about suspecting that Rob was going to be the winner, there was still something really powerful about him backstabbing Eric and then Maura. Maura sold it for me. Great gameplay by Rob, but Maura brought the emotion, and it really conflicted not only Rob, but the audience, and it got me, man. I was like, ooh, and it just shows that bittersweet feeling, as Rob said, of winning this game. Because, Maura was in it, and Maura knew not to trust him, but she trusted him. And so that moment was beautiful,
It was so beautiful, and they had just silence. They kept the silence that was there. And a lot of times we don't get silence. There's always some music in the background. There's always someone talking or saying something. There was no sound effects. It was just silence. So it was just you felt it.
That's a great point. Yeah, it really was chilling. And Maura brought her hands up to her lips when he was about to reveal or not, because she was bracing, and she kept waiting to for him to say that he was kidding. And he's like, no, I'm a traitor. I've been a traitor the whole time. And I don't know, man. I will say, we've made fun of Maura here and there because she's kind of followed along blindly, but it was really worth it for that moment. It's they did a good job with the editing, because I still thought maybe they were going to get Rob. There was a couple moments where I thought Rob was in jeopardy.
Every time I thought Rob was in jeopardy. And same with Eric. I was like, they're going to get him. I thought Tara and Johnny convinced Maura to vote. That first round table, I was like, now they're screwed. And then when Maura voted for Johnny, I was like, no way. And then I thought for sure they were going to vote Eric before Tara. And then I thought there was going to be a chance for Rob to go out. And I was just he pulled it off. And I'm still shocked by that.
And it brings up that interesting question, and I know I have a lot of listeners. I mean, I just kept thinking of how we watch these shows. And that's what the interesting thing about Traitors is, that it pulls from all different reality shows. I loved in the reunion that Rob Cesternino, he said, Rob is a GOAT, man. And coming from a game player and coming from Rob Cesternino, I think that was a high praise towards Rob about just pointing out what a good game he played. Now, if you mainly watch reality television in terms of Housewives and stuff, you could probably be very infuriated by that, because you're going for storyline, you're going for high emotions, and you don't sometimes want a man to win. And I just think about how we all approach these shows so differently. But I hope that after the dust settles, Rob can get his flowers a little bit, and that we can realize he really, he might have played a cold game in the end, but my God, it was a really well thought out game, I think.
Absolutely. He didn't, was there struggle in there? I think that's what makes it more exciting. I think Cirie still played a better game, but Rob's game was a little bit more exciting because they were on to him at the end. But he was still able to by the luck of his teeth, get through it. So that's what made this episode so much more exciting than season 1. But I think Cirie still played a better game, but Rob made it exciting, even though you don't want to make it exciting, but it was super exciting.
Now, some of the things that annoy me still, and I think probably annoy you still, we wound up with a prize pot of $220,000. And Rob, I'm sorry, that's a lot of money, but it's not going to change your family's life, and it's not going to change you're not buying a farm. I mean, you might be able to buy one. Come on, man. Like, let's stop pretending this is life-changing money. It is life-changing money for a lot of us, but come on, let's stop pretending that. And I know they get a paycheck on top of this.
Yeah, so I'm curious because he was in Super Bowl commercials. So I'm like, what other paychecks has he gotten? Has anything like surpassed this $220,000 prize pot?
I have to imagine he's gotten bigger checks in terms of like the ad. Because isn't he doing like a Sonic ad? He's been doing a lot of different companies. So
Yeah,
it's a nice little prize pot.
but on top of him doing Traitors, like Traitors has been probably a gateway to more advertisements on top of the prize pot. So, who knows? Maybe he's made 500,000 from Traitors.
Do we think he said like, I like to live kind of a smaller life, and do we think when do we think we're going to see Rob Roush again? Or is he going to be pretty consistent in taking like ads and things like that now, or do you think Rob's going to disappear for a while?
I think we'll see him in ads and everything, but I take Rob as someone that's not going to do just any reality TV show. It's got to interest him,
Yeah.
and he has to believe it would be a good time. I don't think he's just gonna go out of his way to be on everything. Like he's not one of those like just influencers. Like he'll be making his snake videos. He's gonna go back to making his snake videos. He's not gonna be like completely changing who he is.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't think he would be good for the Traitors All Stars.
I think he'd be fantastic. Why do you say
What's
that?
that?
You don't think he would be good?
No, I don't think he would be good at all because we know his game. He would have to switch up his game entirely.
Well, I just want to see him as a faithful. I think it would be really interesting to see how he would play as a faithful and change it up. Because I would like to see a Traitors all Traitor season. I think that would be really fun to see.
Yeah, it would be fun to see. I just think he's got such a target on his back now, and people, and he's the most recent. So whenever they do Traitors All Stars, even though they say that is not in the works yet, I think people are going to have him the freshest in their memories. And so I think it's going to be really hard. It's like he's done this so well. Can he do the same game twice, or how would he switch his game up? But at the same time, Boston Rob has been very unique on so many different shows and has been able to play a consistent game.
Yeah, and I don't think it's about winning necessarily. It's just coming back and making it a fun environment to watch. I think that's
Yeah.
more important about an all-stars environment than actually winning the game itself. And I think now if they're doing a Traitors All-Stars, like you can't do Traitors All-Stars without Rob because the fandom would be like, "Where's Rob? Like he just played an amazing game," and I think you just have to include him.
Well, look, I mean, we're coming off the season premiere of Survivor 50, which we're not going to talk about tonight, but there might be something in the works. But it's like they didn't pick just the winners of Survivor. It wasn't just all Survivor winners. It's like like a lot of new era players, a lot of, it's like you can play a game without Rob. I mean, they're all personalities. So I'd be curious how they would cast Traitors All Stars.
Okay, then my question would be, who from this season would you recruit for Traitors All Stars? Because now I'm thinking about it too.
Yeah, I mean, from this season, I mean, Monet Exchange, not that I would choose, but like he said, hey, put me and Bob in this. We'll show him how this is run. I think I would give Candace another shot.
I agree with that.
I would throw Candace in there immediately. I mean, I know but I really am dying to see Rob Cesternino play this game. I would love more gamers in here,
No, I would love to see Rob Cesternino and Ian Terry. I think Ian Terry got robbed of
yeah, Rob robbed him. Yeah.
Yeah, Rob robbed them.
And of course we watched the reunion as well. And the reunion was a real mixed bag. I mean, it was like hit or miss. There was a lot of little funny sketches where I think I would have been interested in hearing more about the gameplay. But it was still fun to see everybody. Michael Rappaport ended up annoying me pretty quickly, actually. And I'm led to believe that, and this might be obvious to some, but I know this is really him, but at the same time, I feel like sometimes he's just trying to make a moment.
I totally agree with that. I don't think he's like, he doesn't care. He's just like, I'm just going to say what I want to say. And it's like the whole like I'm talking now. You can't interrupt me. I was just like, okay, dude, just whatever.
Yeah, I mean, you're yelling at Johnny Weir, who's like zooming in from like the Olympics. My God,
Yeah,
like chill out, dude.
it's just so disrespectful. I'm like, I would hate to be in the same room as that guy.
Well, and I don't know if they didn't give this award out on the Traitors, but Johnny and Tara did win the Best Friendship Award. They did leave that castle still best friend. I mean, even in this final episode, you guys, the commitment to that friendship, I was like, I don't know if I have anybody in my life that is that, like, I mean, it is charming to see, but at the same point, you got to stop saying, I just know she's not a traitor, because trust me, that shit doesn't fly on these games.
Yeah, but even though they do know that they're not traitors, like I will give them like full. I don't want to say the benefit of the doubt, because I'm giving them like full. I believe them that like they know the other person's not a traitor,
Yes.
but like for the rest of the people sitting there, they don't know.
That's what I believe that they definitely know, like they would be able to sense if one was, I believe that. But the rest of us, we don't have any, like, why would Mora believe you guys just on your word? Like, this is a game where words don't mean shit. And I mean, that's why it's also so impressive that Rob was able to make everybody believe his word. And, I mean, I still keep going back and forth of how much of this is great gameplay and how much of this is Rob being a very beautiful man.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't like. I'm not attracted to guys, so I really.
Hey, hey, I just want to say I'm not attracted to. Me either. Me too.
But like, I don't know. I feel like I'd just be like, I'd get along with Rob, but I don't know if I would like get blinded by him.
No. But like I'm saying, like with Mora and stuff like that, it's like they did ask at the reunion, was there a crush happening? What, and it's like Mora said no. Rob said, oh, there was a little flirting. Come on. But Mora was like, no. It's like, but I just wonder how much pretty privilege when an attractive man or woman is saying something to you and making, like how much of that plays a part, because if it's all of a sudden like the Hunchback of Notre Dame, you're going to be scared of this person, but Rob is, from what I'm told, very pleasing to look at.
Yeah. So I think what I'll do is I'll go back on the Traitors and I'll try to be pleasing to look at. So I can see how that goes.
Yeah. By the way, when Bergie goes back, you better have an 18-pack, dude, and you better do everything shirtless.
I'll get like veneers. I'll just look like everybody else. Get some Botox, just go in.
And then you do it looks horribly wrong and scary. You're like, my God, Bergie.
I was like, yeah, and I go to Mexico. I couldn't afford it in America. It was really bad.
Yeah, I went to Turkey and got a bunch of weird operations. So let's go through the as we always do. So a good night for Robbie Bobby. So we left off last episode. We're there at the fire pit and they got to murder somebody that night. And I love that Mora thinks it's her and Rob tells Johnny it's going to be him. And it turns out to be Mark Ballas. And this really surprised me because last week I said they got to break Johnny and Tara up. So this was like the big surprise, one of the big surprises of the games for me. Why do you think they went Mark?
Well, it was definitely the right decision. I think they knew they could win Mora over. So murdering Mora would be a bad decision because if you
totally.
You don't want to lose Mora. Yeah.
Mora was essential to Rob's game.
Yeah. If Mora wasn't there, Rob didn't win tonight. Johnny and Tara, I think they just thought they could convince that one of them has to be a traitor or both of them could be a traitor in that aspect. Because murdering Tara, you still have Mark there then, and Mark was thinking it was Eric. So then you lose Eric at that first round table. And then either way, then it's like, who else is the other traitor? And if Mark and Mora are there, I feel like Mark would be more suspicious of Rob than he would be of maybe Johnny and you know what I mean? So I think Mark was just the most dangerous person there, where he could figure out he was going to go for Eric next. And then, it just leaves Mora with Rob. Yeah. So I think you can't get rid of Mora, and Mark was going to go after Eric.
Yeah. So I was surprised it was Mark. Mark gets in the box. And Mora's like, I told you it was going to be me again. And he's like, I'll see you in hell. And Rob goes, I love you, man. And Eric goes, miss you. Like Rob just casually says, I love you, man. I
Do
love
you
you.
think
And
they told Mark, like, "Hey, you can't say who you think it is when you're getting into the coffin," like, kinda like blanket?
yes, I see. That's what I always think about too. It's like there's so many opportunities. Eric Nam at the very end, he came closest to saying, to more of like, why aren't we looking at the one person you never look at, like on the final thing? And really, like, I was surprised that they let him say that because it was right before that final vote. More, I do think that they let him say, "I'll see you in hell" and nothing else.
Yeah, like, you can say something, but you can't be like Jam Jam going, it's Lisa," or "It's Eric, it's Eric," getting
At
into the
least
coffin.
he gives me, it gives me. I was
Like,
like, I
you
kept
just
wanting. What's that?
I was just saying, you just see him, like, walking into the coffin going, "It's Eric, it's Eric, it's Eric," every step he takes, he's just going, "It's Eric."
Housewives don't do a full kiss. Housewives don't do a full kiss.
Ugh.
Wait, hold on a sec. So Mark gets in the box and they set it on fire like around the box. And I just kept wondering how many times that they had to do this and how long he had to stay in the box. It was crazy.
Yeah, I would imagine they, like, had him get back right out of the box, like, they put him in the box, they close it, and
Yeah.
then they say, "Hey, Mark, you wanna get out of the box real quick?" And then just walk away, and then they lit it on fire.
Yeah, they had to have, right? Yeah. So, anyways,
Yeah.
that scene is over. We cut to breakfast the next day. Eric comes in first. He can't believe he tricked his way into the final five. And then Maura comes in, and Maura, like, I can't believe we're in the final. And she lets us know. She sets it up in the beginning in a talking head that says, it takes a long time to trust people for me because the majority of guys I've dated have cheated on me. And I was like, damn, when she threw that out there, I was like, that gives this episode a whole nother layer of, girl, you are in danger. It was
Yeah.
really, it was great. And your heart like went out to Maura. And then Maura's like, I do think Tara's a faithful. My gut is telling me that it's not Rob, but sometimes I got a little doubt. And then Rob comes in and Rob says to Maura, I feel like I've known you for years. Rob in a talking head says, this has been so mentally challenging. It's like it's like the hardest chess game I've ever played in my life. And he says, Maura is the pivotal piece on the board. I need her to vote out Tara and then Johnny, and then Eric and I can win the game. So in that talking head, he says Eric and I can win the game. When do you think Rob decided he was going to he was going to turn against Eric?
See, I thought he was gonna banish Eric this whole time.
Me
Like,
too. Me
even when he
too.
recruited him, he said, "We can get to the end together." He never
Yep.
said, "We can win together." He was always saying, "We can get to the end together." Never, "We're gonna win together."
I 100% agree. I don't think it was a last minute decision. I always thought that's how he was going to be. And Rob said at the end of this game, I mean, he meant it for everybody. It's like, I'm going to just give somebody 100,000, somebody I met 3 weeks ago. No, I'm
Mhm.
not going to do that. So I think that was the plan the whole way through. But in this talking head, he said, Eric and I win the game. We cut to Johnny coming in. Johnny in a talking head says, I want to be at the end game with Tara. We know, Johnny. We know. Tara comes in. And Eric says, how wild was Mark's murder last night? And Rob says it was 50-50 me or him. We are the most trusted in this group. Do you think, like, I was worried about Rob saying this because, like, that must have been really that must have read well in the room because I was kind of wondering, why did Rob say that?
Yeah, no, my DEFCON alert went up. Like, I was
Yeah.
like, "What's going on here? Like, why are you saying that?" You're throwing yourself under the bus right now. Like, don't say you're, like, the most trusted faithful in the room. Like, that's dicey. That's
Yeah,
very
because if you
dicey.
say that, you acknowledge that you were aware of that, and then that becomes, well, that would be great gameplay as a traitor to be the most faithful of the faithfuls.
Well, and I think for Johnny and Tara, they were, like, full on, like, Rob the traitor, and so is Eric, but, like, we can convince Maura first that it's Eric, and we can't get Rob first. Like, I don't think they were like, "We can convince Maura that it's Rob."
See, that's the other thing I had confusion of is that they kept saying Eric, but they only like towards the end, Tara started saying Eric and Rob. And I was wondering too, like, why not just go for broke? Say, I think it's Eric and Rob the whole time through. But they kept just saying Eric. And I get like maybe Eric's going to be the easier person to do. But I say at this point, Hail Mary it. You got to go Eric and Rob hard immediately and see how Rob reacts to that.
Yeah, I think the other problem was, like, they lost Natalie the day before, and that
Yeah.
was, like, crucial. Like, the last episode was so crucial to this day that since they screwed up the day before, like, the game already ended once Natalie was gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
For
I mean,
Johnny and Tara's game.
Yeah. So Alan comes sauntering in. He's like, "Good morning, my party of five. Mark had his final paso doble with death." And then we find out the prize pot is at $180,800. He reminds us that no one's true identity will be revealed at the banishment. And if any traitors are left at the game, they will take all of the money. And he hints that the final mission will have something to do with a splash, which we know that means water. But that's usually what these finales are, or they use that what is that, big lake out there?
The lock.
The lock, sorry.
Yeah.
A big lock that they have been using. And Johnny in a talking head says he's still reeling over Natalie. It's like, we should have banished Rob. We should have kept with banishing Rob. The two traitors are Eric and Rob. Candace left the faithfuls a breadcrumb. So now Johnny is very, very resolute in the feelings, and he's nailed it. We cut to Tara and Johnny going off first, and they agree that it's Rob and Eric, and if we vote the same way, we need to pull Maura into our vote. And then we cut to Eric, Rob, and Maura, and Maura's like, "I keep thinking it's just one of them." And Rob says, "No, it's both of them." And Eric says, "There's no other way, Maura." So they are fully convincing Maura and just trying to keep her on track. And they say Johnny is capable of talking himself out of a hole, so we need to get him out first. So that's Rob said that. Rob's aware of that. And he says, once again, I built a relationship with Maura this entire game. And we cut to Tara grabbing Maura, and then Johnny sits with Eric and Rob. And Tara to Maura says, "Trust me." The first thing she says to Maura is, she goes, "Maura, trust me, Johnny's a faithful." And I'm like, stop it. Just tell us why you think Johnny's a faithful. I think Eric is one. He never commits or talks about his suspicions. He won't ever say a name. And then she goes, "I feel so calm today. I could be so wrong, but do you see how I stick to it? And then she once again says, Johnny isn't. So that's three people. So she says Johnny isn't a traitor twice. And she also says, "I'm very calm, even though I'm wrong all the time." But it's great that Tara finally is back to feeling confident again.
Yeah, and I was so excited. I'm like, this is gonna be a great finale. When all that was going down, I'm like, this is like, and I realized Maura is going to be the deciding vote on who wins this game. Like, it's all up to Maura on who's going to win. Is it gonna be the faithful, or is it gonna be the traitors? And the whole episode revolved around Maura trusting Rob.
And I do love that. Tara put it that way of like, it's like training for the Olympics, and like, you screw up sometimes and all that, but now this is the Olympics and I'm ready to compete. I kind of like that of like, this all leads up to this, and I was really good at the Olympics, so I'm ready to go. And I was like, you know what? I buy that. I totally buy that.
I buy that, but I wish you were playing the Olympics last week.
Couldn't you have pretended the other episodes were all the Olympics? That'd be great too.
Just the one before was very vital for the Olympics.
It just the penultimate episode would have been great if you pretended that was the Olympics.
Yep.
We cut to the challenge, and it involves a helicopter, and Maura really wants to ride the helicopter. And so Rob and Maura volunteer to go in the helicopter. And, Rob says that's perfect because it keeps Maura away from Tara and Johnny, because, you don't know what Tara and Johnny are going to try to convince Maura of. And they have 45 minutes. And this was one of those things, like, I watched it, but it was like more trivia about like whose coffin got buried first, and like you could win a lot of prize pot money. Did this game do it? I thought it's exciting with the helicopter, like, ooh, a twirly bird in the sky, but it didn't really do much for me at all.
See, I was watching it, and I was just having FOMO the whole time. I was like, damn, I never got to ride in that freaking helicopter and jump out and go swimming in the lock like that. So I was just having FOMO. So I really loved it because I was just envisioning myself doing the challenge. But
you know what? Did you ever because by the way, they kept airing, they aired the commercial for like the normal version of the Traitors that anybody listening or watching this right now, you can sign up to be on the Traitors. Bergie, you should sign up under like your name is like Mergie or something.
Or Carsten Bergersen, they wouldn't.
Yeah, or Marston Bergersen or something, and you just like put like a big evil mustache on and like see if they notice it's you or not.
Just shave my head and just go in.
You go undercover. Undercover in the normal version of the Traitors. But just to remind people, they know, but you played the second season of the Traitors, and it does, you have to watch this in a different way than we do, because it's all things like you've been in the castle, these rooms, and you never got to be out there by the lock.
Well, yes, the first episode we were in a lock, but not And like season 2, they did that crazy thing with like they got the slide down the zip line, and then like CT got to go swimming in a cave.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna apply to another TV show once I'm done with PT school. I'm just gonna apply it, full send it. I was watching Survivor 50 this week, and I'm watching the challenges, and I'm like, it inspired me to go work out. I was like, I need to go work out so I can be the Survivor.
It inspired me to eat chips last night. I like fell asleep watching Survivor. I could only get through the first hour because it had been such a long day. But I will say I did get like emotional watching the first hour of Survivor. I was like, when Jeff Probst was like, and all we ask of you is your all. Give it to us all. Your blood, your sweat, your dead. I was like, I will give you my all. I will. And I was like, just stuffing my face with chips. You know, I was like, yes, Jeff, yes. It was great. So anyways, back to this game. They did the helicopter and they won a bunch of prize money. And then at the end, like they had 6 extra minutes where Rob or Maura could volunteer to jump out of the helicopter and get another clue to get money. And Rob jumped, and Maura can't even swim, which is like, why did they pick her to go in the helicopter if she can't even swim? That seems potentially dangerous if there's a helicopter problem. But they add, what do they add? Like 25,000 more to the prize pot.
No, it was like 45,000. It was 25,000.
Okay, it was a lot of money, and
I just wanted to say too, like I even forgot the time. So I didn't even realize Alan said there was a timer on this mission, and then all of a sudden the timer just appeared, and I was like, did he say there was a timer?
He said at the very beginning there was 45 minutes, but as always, I suspect that these challenges go a lot longer just because of the filming aspect of it, and especially the one you're talking about with the zip lines with CT and Mercedes. There's no flipping way that because they had to go out to the boat and like get the sail up. There was just no way that was 45 minutes on that season 2. Or season 2, yeah.
I wasn't there, but I would guess it took them longer than
Yeah, you would guess, yeah. So Maura says Rob's so brave for jumping in there. And then in the car ride back, Rob tells Maura, listen, I'm voting for Johnny. It's the only way we win. Unless something crazy happens, we will win. So Rob, once again, just reiterating to Maura, just stick with me, stick with the plan. Now, back at the castle, Johnny and Tara are there and says, hey, it's Eric and Rob. We can't waver. And Tara says, unless something crazy happens, and, with Maura, we may be able to win. So Tara and Johnny are saying the same thing that Rob is saying to Maura. Tara in a talking head, this is where she said, when there's pressure, it actually makes me better. Tara pulls Maura again, and Tara says, it's going to be hard at the round table. I just want to follow my gut on Eric. And Maura's like, I'm trying not to look him in the eye. And Maura says, I've always had your back, Tara, but dear God, I feel sick. And in a talking head, Maura says, it's all a bit messy. And, if I'm trusting the wrong person, I don't know. I don't like lying, but I have no choice. And then we cut to Eric, who's talking to Maura. And, Eric's like, I feel good about the 3 of us. So Maura is keeping up this lie with Eric, or like making Eric believe that she's fully on board. And Robin at Talking Head says, Maura is trying to sell to Eric that she fully trusts him. And I can tell she's lying, but it's the same exact way she tells me she wants to end the game with me. And I thought that was interesting because it showed you that Rob was feeling a little paranoia too about Maura.
Yeah, no, because, she's the one she literally controls the game. Like, if she gets rid of Eric the first round, then it's Johnny and Tara voting for Rob, and maybe Maura and Rob voting for someone else. And then, like, I don't know what happens when you split a vote in the finale like that, but it would just be probably repeating votes until someone changes their vote.
I was trying to think, like, what could Johnny and Tara have done to convince Maura? Like, what could have been done in these moments?
I wonder if they went to Eric and said, what do you think about voting out Maura and Rob, and seeing if they could have worked that aspect? Because they never tried that route. And seeing if Eric would have flipped on Rob.
I just keep thinking it's like how you think like, oh, I could convince somebody. Like if I was really believe this, I could sit somebody down. Or if Maura, said, Maura, you said guys have cheated on you and lied. This is exactly what's happening. Rob is lying to you. It's not personal. He is a traitor. I swear to God on everything. Like, I wonder how hard you could have gone. Like did they try any other different strategies? Or if Maura was just so ensconced in the Rob cement that there was just no way it was moving.
Yeah. Well, and I can speak for when I was there and trying to convince people that it was like Dan. Like I remember it was the third episode. I was going around the castle trying to get votes for Dan, and I couldn't get any votes for Dan. So then I switched on Max because I was like, nobody's like switching their vote. And the reason why I was going hard for Dan was, he was one of the scarecrows and he was the last scarecrow left. And that was the reason.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I can convince people off of that, but it feels like when people make up their minds, they're very hard to change.
Yeah, no, it just makes you think like what are ways to change somebody's mind? Like what are ways, and I guess the big way is to just develop trust early like Rob did with Mora. Rob really did work on that relationship from day 1 and he was really able to make that work. I mean, it's once again, you got to give that to Rob. Like he really cultivated that relationship and it might have been heartless and it might have been cruel, but he was a traitor. That's what they're there to do. And it worked for him and Mora really bought it. So anyways, Mora, oh no. So now we cut to the round table already. And we get the final, follow me into the valley light where all the flowers bloom. And Johnny says, Tara and I have been in a lot of big stuff together, professional and private. We need to get Eric out. I do sometimes wonder, like, what happens after the Olympics? Do Johnny and Tara just go live with each other? Like, are they okay? They're not going to be around each other for a minute. Like,
Yeah, 4 years.
like, what is that like when do they talk every day? Are they constantly texting?
I wonder if they do like, there's got to be like, not Olympic figure skating every year, but there's got to be like American figure skating at some sort of expert level that they probably host that would get
Yeah.
like, or like report on together. So they're probably together at least like for a couple months out of the year.
Yeah, I mean, even at the reunion, they Skyped in and they were like almost holding hands at the reunion. So Rob in the Talking Dead says it's extremely crucial that Eric nor I get banished because I need him. More in the Talking Head says she's in a bit of a pickle. Tara told me they're going for Eric and I think he's a traitor, but I also think Johnny's a traitor. And then Alan comes in and we start. Eric says, I'm so confused and lost. This roundtable, I know I'm a faithful, and I'll be very honest, I'm leaning towards voting for Tara or Johnny. And Rob very calmly says, it's interesting, Tara and Johnny, how you guys weren't that close in the beginning. You kept your distance until you thought you were going to get banished, Johnny. And then all of a sudden you were like this, and we now know your relationship. And that's great that they did that because Rob is able to use that against them, even though we understand why Johnny did it. And Johnny's like, yeah, we played a cold game, which is the sneakiest thing we did. And we didn't want to be a target because we were a duo. And Mora's like, I get it, because everyone would be watching you the whole time. I get it. But it's one of those kind of things that you can use either way. Like Rob can use it to make him look like a traitor, but it's also very understandable why they did hide it.
Well, and then when Mora said like, I get it, I thought for sure she was voting Eric that first roundtable. So I was like, oh my gosh, Mora's going to flip here.
Well, you did get the impression with the final 5 that even though 2 of them were traitors, they all genuinely liked each other.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
like they all seem like, like, well, because Tara was like, I love all you guys, but, and so it wasn't like bad blood where I felt like somebody was going to kill somebody.
No, and I really appreciated that from Mora too when she ended up losing the game overall. Like she was shocked, but she
And then
wasn't
she
like,
finally,
yeah, she wasn't mad at Rob, but she was like, well, I love you can never have a girlfriend, but
yeah,
did, man.
you can never have a girl. You're never going to have a girlfriend, which, by the way, we found at the reunion, Rob does have a girlfriend. He's had a girlfriend for 2 whole months, you guys. So that's big. Congratulations. So Mora said, yeah. So Johnny says, it's widely thought there could be 2 traitors left. So there are 5 people. And then once again, Johnny goes, I 99.99% know it's not Tara because of our history. And you might be saying, how can you just know? I just do. The obvious alliance, is like 2 people, and looking at 3 of you, Mora, I don't smell you at all on this. This is who you are. And Mora's like, it really is. And Tara's like, no matter what happens, I've loved playing this game with you. And then Johnny goes, but Eric, your gameplay has been opaque. And Tara picks up, yeah, it's very under the radar. You have not told me anything. You're passionate as a faithful to jump on a theory, and that is a giant red flag for me. And So Eric says, I'm not that person. I don't come to you directly, but I did come to Mark, Rob, Kristen. Those are the ones I was confiding in. I don't know how else to explain to you that I'm a faithful. I played as a faithful from the beginning to the end. I would fall apart as a traitor. I can't look people in the eye when I lie. So what have you thought about this back and forth?
Yeah, I was wondering why Eric didn't even talk more about when he was a faithful. Like when I heard Tiffany, like I thought I heard Tiffany at the tree and I was completely wrong. Like I would have played into all the times I would be thinking like, okay, I was a faithful for like 7 episodes. What can I bring up that I was doing during those 7 episodes while I was a faithful and like was actually thinking? So,
Yeah.
like he never brought up like him hearing Tiffany and being wrong about Tiffany. Like I would have been like, I was so set on Tiffany and I was so wrong. Like that's because I was a faithful.
I do wonder if Rob had given him any pointers, not leading up to tonight, but like in the turret, like 2 times before when he like, hey, if this gets thrown at you, go this way. I wonder if he was giving him game moves of like, this is what you do if this happens. This is what you do if this happens. I don't know,
Yeah, he could have sabotaged Eric's game too if he was doing that.
Yeah, I mean, I was curious about that. Tara says, in the car after the challenge, I really pressed you on who you thought it was, and you threw out Mora's name. And Rob kind of puts his hands like near his face, which I thought kind of signaled like, oh shit. And Eric says, yeah, but there were moments that all of you were on my list. And then Rob jumps in and goes, it gets... As it gets smaller, you build trust with people. Tonight, I'm throwing out my playbook. I'm just going on instinct. And I thought, wouldn't it be interesting that Alan, if he picked one of you, Tara and Johnny, and that you had to keep a secret from one of your best friends, and then you had to recruit. And if you had to recruit, you're going to pick each other. And I love you all so much. I'm just going to hope for the best. I trust Mora here and I trust Eric. So he kind of like stopped Eric's bleeding and immediately jumped in and kind of said, listen, I'm throwing out my playbook. I'm just going on. I mean, he kind of, I think, helped Eric in that moment, but also signaled to Mora once again, we're sticking to our plan.
Yeah, and it kind of covered the basis of what he said earlier with, you guys then became best friends and announced it to the group all of a sudden, and that could have been when the recruit happened.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
so
but this is what, because this is where Alan's like, the time for talk is over. Now is the time to vote. But you notice nobody at this round table has said Rob's name. It's only been Eric, Tara, and Johnny. That's it.
Yeah.
And they said Mora, like, oh, Eric threw out Mora's in the car. But Rob's name was not mentioned one time at the final round table. Like, that's huge. And that also is very suspicious. Not suspicious, but I am wondering, like, why didn't Tara and Johnny just go for broke even in that moment? Going, I think it's you, Eric, and I think it's you, Rob.
I think they were worried if they did that, then Mora wouldn't side with them. Because at this point, did Tara say she was thinking it was Rob and Eric or just only Eric? Because I think that was like the big point.
She said Rob and Eric to Johnny, but nobody else.
Yeah, I think they both knew it was Rob and Eric, but I think if they thought they said Rob, that Mora wouldn't side with them. She would go against them.
I think it's almost like a Candace breadcrumb. You got to say it now. So in the final moments when it's Eric, Rob, and Mora, she's thinking of all the times at the final roundtable that Rob's name was brought up. So she's hearing it time and time again. I just think it might have been like a breadcrumb clue, but probably not. So we go to the first vote. Eric votes for Johnny. Rob votes for Johnny. Tara votes for Eric. Johnny votes for Eric. And then Mora says, I'm sorry, and votes for Johnny. And Tara's like, oh my God. Way to go, Tara. You let your best friend die. Your best friend is out. And Mora's like, it's really just a gut feeling. I love you. I really do. And Johnny, you are banished from the game. And I love that Johnny goes, okay, but I'm going to go hug my friend. And she's like, I wish Alan would have been like, leave my castle now.
He also jogged out, which was really funny. Like, that has never happened before. It was just him jogging down the stairs.
I just love, I'm going to go hug my friend, Yeah. Johnny in a Talking Dead says, I'm proud for what I did here and that I was able to do it with Tara by my side. Eric and Rob are the traitors, and I hope Tara can see something. I can hope Mora can see something that she hasn't seen yet. And so Alan's like, now that the hurly-burly is done, but the battle is yet to be lost or won, soon we will meet at the fire of truth, and there you will face a choice of traitors. you banish again, but all I don't know. He keeps talking, anyways. So now we switch from the round table to the fire of truth. Why don't they do this outside anymore?
I don't know. The UK has always done it inside. No. They haven't always. Season 2, they did it inside. It was probably raining. It was raining during the final challenge,
Yeah.
and they did it in season 2 because it was raining outside on UK. So I'm guessing it was because it was raining outside, they went inside. That would be my guess.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. I was like, there must be a reason. So it's like, who do you really trust? Rob grabs Maura in the kitchen and says, "We are going to win this game." And Maura's like, pinky promise. And Rob pinky promises her and picks her, lifts her up and twirls her around. And in a talking head, Rob says, "I genuinely feel bad, but I think I'm going to win this game. And it doesn't matter that she thinks Eric's the, traitor. I just need her to vote Tara out at this point." But like that, like when he picks her up and pinky promises, like it seems so natural. And you can understand Maura at that point really thinking they're gonna win,
Oh my god. Yeah, and I was starting to feel bad for Maura.
Yeah.
After, like, I was like, "She is being so used right now," and then, before during the breakfast scene, during her interview, when she said, like, she's had boyfriends in the past, and, like, we kinda know her history if you followed her from Love Island. I'm going, "Yeah, this is gonna be a tough one." Like, I was just like, "Shit."
But you know what? I will say on the positive, like, man, she made it to the end. She got so much camera time. She's really funny. She's beautiful, obviously. She's got so much talent that I can only imagine so much. Like this game does a lot for the people, and in each season it gets bigger and bigger. And so I think just she's got to be thrilled. I mean, her manager and agent have to be thrilled. That's what I mean. She might be
Yeah.
hurt. Her manager and agent are probably fielding so many offers right now.
Yeah, there's gotta be ads for, like, I didn't know which one to decide, so I got both. Like, I'm just thinking like a Sonic ad or something, like.
or just even just like Revlon or like makeup or like I could just see so much for her. So we cut to Eric saying, "We're good, right, Tamora?" And then Tara comes in and she goes, "Guys, I'm telling you, it's not me. On everything, it's not me. I know I'm a faithful. Someone is a traitor." And I'm like, "Tara, are you just talking to talk? Of course we know. Yes, we know all of this." And then Eric and Rob walk off, which I was like, why would you walk off and let Tara just talk to Maura alone? Or are you sometimes forced to leave the room?
No, you're not forced. I'm sure Tara asked and they just maybe edited it out, or
Okay.
something along those lines could have happened as well.
Eric in the talking head says, "Maura is suspicious, but Rob and I are good." And then Eric's like, "We got to get Tara out." And Rob says, "We got it, dude. We got it." And Eric in the talking head says, "The plan is we banish Tara. And even if Maura is going to banish again, we win the game because we're traitors." Tara says to Maura, "Just listen to me. It's definitely Eric. I know that is crazy, but then this is the first time she says it. But I also think Rob is a traitor." And Maura says, I just can't see it. I can't see it. Am I being stupid?" And Maura says, "I only met Rob one time before this castle." And Tara's like, "I think he's been protecting you this whole time." And Maura in the talking head says, "Maybe it's like we're both from Love Island world and the traitors are Rob and Eric." So she kind of is starting. I mean, I do wonder when that talking head is recorded.
Yeah, I did too. I was like, did that happen after
Afterwards.
the finale? Like, I was wondering when they were doing these talking heads. Was it during? Were they pulling them from these like very important chats to lead up to this $250,000, or did they do all these after everything was done?
So they filmed this over 3 weeks, right?
Yep.
Did they? I forgot. I know this already, but did they fly you home immediately, or do you have to be there for 3 weeks?
Do you get It's crazy. So, when I got murdered, like that happens in the morning. I then filmed all of my like if they wanted any more master interviews, I filmed all of that, and then went to a hotel, and then I flew out the next day.
Wow.
Yeah. So they get you out of there quick.
Yeah, I just as the show gets bigger, I just sometimes wonder if there's like paparazzi waiting and like watching airplanes and shit. I know that sounds crazy, but you can tell the flight's taking off from that area.
Well, and the thing is, they that's why we stay at the castle. That way, there's nobody staying at the hotel, so the paparazzi don't wait at the hotel. So like, they
Yes,
stay at the
yes,
castle.
yes. Yes, the castle is where you stay.
Yeah.
So now Alan interviews the remaining players, and Eric says, "I'm hoping to show a nice guy can win in the end." I will say, like, I didn't know who Eric Nam was before this. He really genuinely does seem like a nice guy, but nice guys do not win on this show. Like, I will say it is, and it's also, I hate to say this, but it's not entertaining to watch nice guys play.
Dang.
No, not you. I'm saying like, no. I don't mean you. I'm saying like in this moment, I want Eric to like, because also Eric can lie. He keeps saying, I can't lie. He can lie great. Stop. You're not as nice as you pretend you are. Stop saying nice guys. Like, I feel like it's something that he's saying as a nice like catchphrase, when in the end, he's pretty good at lying. He might not be good at backing up the lie, but he can look at people in the eye and lie.
Well, he was literally doing that, looking into Tara's eyes, doing it. He's like, I can't lie, and like, look me in the eyes. I can't lie, and I'm like, dude, you're lying right now.
Yeah, but the lying is not the problem. It's like the specifics of the lie is the problem.
Yeah, like him saying like, I think Moore is a traitor, and then like had no reason why other than just Moore is a traitor. And like,
yeah,
it was so funny seeing Johnny and Tara just like do a side eye to each other. Like,
I know,
this guy's totally a traitor.
Well, I will say, I mean, that's something that, like, I think the audience, all of us, we can learn from this, because, you know, from Rinna to Eric Nam, is that you gotta have specifics. If you don't know what, you know, it's like character is one thing, but you gotta be able to back it up. You gotta be able to speak like a reason why, or this is, I can paint a picture of why. The why is so important in this game. It just can't be, I'm not. You gotta tell us why. So anybody playing the Traitors, you gotta be specific. The more specific you can be, the better.
Gotta be a good storyteller.
I think so, yeah.
And I'm looking back on it too. I love when Colton was like grilling Lisa in the billiards room, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm not a traitor," and it's just like, it was just like complete sentences, like one or two word sentences. I'm not. Leave me alone.
Well, and that's why that's also why I thought Candace is a great traitor. Candace is able to actually, I mean, it might be wrong, but she's able to talk it out. And that's also why, you know, it's like, I did not like Colton's gameplay, but aggressiveness does help in this game as well. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like sometimes sitting back. Rob played this, not country bumpkin, but he played a very calm, cool, collected guy. And he didn't switch that up ever. You never saw Rob break a sweat.
Nope. You did get to see him like I feel like when he gets nervous though, he
drinks a lot of water. I noticed
he drinks water, and then he like unhinges, like he moves his jaw to like the left or right. I feel like that's what he does a lot, but like that doesn't mean he's a traitor. It just, well, he was a traitor, but like it just means he's like nervous in the moment.
Yeah, no. So Tara says this would mean so much more to me than the money. It would be a personal victory because I got it wrong all the time. And then she throws in, and Johnny would be so proud of me. Rob says it would mean a lot just because the things I've done, I'm not proud of. You know, this is life-changing money. I can help my family, and I want to have kids, and I just hope Tara hasn't put doubt in Maura's mind. I just like that. It's like, yes, it's kind of life-changing money. It's like, but then I'm going to take care of my kids and their kids. I mean, it's not like generational money here.
No.
Maura says, you know, it's like, it's so hard to trust. You know, I have to trust Rob. I've been lied to and cheated on. I want to make my mammy proud. You know, it's like she says you can do it, and I just never believed I could. And so now we're at the Fire of Truth, the final prize pot of $220,800, and we have the votes now. And you throw your pouch in. If it's green, you can move on. If it's red, that they got to vote again. There's a traitor. And so Maura throws her pouch in, and it's red. Rob throws his pouch in, red. Tara, red. And then Tara throws her in and says red and goes, and I believe it's Eric is the traitor. And Eric says, I'm a faithful. And Tara says, trust me. And then it's the time has come to vote. Write down the player you wish to banish from the game. Eric votes for Tara. Tara votes for Eric. Rob votes for Tara. And then Maura, the deciding vote, votes for Tara. And Tara leaves. So Rob goes, bye, sweetie. We got it. You know what, Bergie? I do have a question. In my older age, I just don't know if it flies calling women sweetie anymore. What do you think? I know Rob didn't mean it demeaning, but at the same time, it's like, don't call me sweetie.
Yeah, I can't think of like anybody my age calling. But he's from Alabama, so I don't know if
that's true. It's
Alabama, because like I'm in the Midwest, so we say a lot of different things too, like
No,
bag.
it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Wait, what'd you
pretty
say?
much
Like what?
bag.
Bag?
Yeah, I have a bag.
What
Like
does
I
that
can't
mean?
like a grocery bag. I don't know. Like it sounds like bag, but I say bag.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
I
I
thought
can
that
say
meant
bag.
something else.
Yeah,
Like,
I can
okay,
say bag.
bag. What
Sorry.
do you say soda or cola?
Soda. Pop.
Okay, okay.
We say pop.
You say pop?
We say pop.
Okay, so Tara's finally out of there, and then there was 3. So now we're voting again. Eric votes green to end the game. And he says, I trust these 2 and feel we are good. We are in the final together. And Maura throws hers in, and it's red. And she goes, I think Eric thought he had us all fooled. And then Rob throws in his in, and we're expecting to see green, but it's red. And Eric sees it, and you could see the shock on Eric's face. It
I
was
was
great.
actually shocked that Rob didn't vote for Eric the round before, and same with Maura. I thought they were going to vote Eric out and then go for Tara afterwards. So I was actually shocked to see that.
No, I wasn't shocked about that at all because the whole thing was we got to get Tara out because he knew he already had Eric under control, and you wanted to keep that dramatically going as long as possible. Like I think it would have been another. I don't think he could have gamed out what Eric's reaction could have been.
Mhm.
Because if they had voted Eric out, Eric could have been like, why are you not looking at the person you've never looked at?
That's so true. That's true. He would have been pissed going out.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
And Tara left without really kind of just any, I mean, she just kind of left. So, Eric is shocked, and Rob is like, well, why? I made a pinky promise, and I intend to keep it. And Maura's like beaming and busting with pride. And Eric says, I really, really, really trusted you guys, and it sucks, and it hurts. I truly trusted you guys. And they're like, well, if we're wrong, I'm sorry. And he goes, you are so incredibly wrong. Think about why you never questioned the other player in this game. And Rob shakes his head like, no. And Maura in a talking head goes, there's something not right. There's something not right here. Eric has to be the traitor. It can't be Rob, right? Which that obviously was filmed after all of this.
Yes, and that the predicament she was in is like when you're playing Connect 4 and you just know like if you put it there you lost, or if you put it there you lost. Like that's where she was at, I feel like.
Yeah. And I do want to point out Rob was in his OG overalls in this, so he's got the full Rob costume on, and it's like write down the player you wish to banish from the game. And Eric writes Rob down and says, I really trusted you. I know, and I believe Maura isn't a traitor, which leaves you. And Rob says, Eric, I voted for you. Sorry, dude. And Maura's like, yeah, I voted for you, Eric. I'm sorry. In a talking head, he goes, wow. If I had done that, I wouldn't be able to live with myself. There's a different line in the sand. Money is great, but relationships are more important, and it doesn't feel good. I don't know. Like, I mean, yes, all of that, but come on. Like, I love that they take it this personally, but like, I don't know. Like, I'm really conflicted about this because yes, in our real lives, you don't want to be backstabbed, but this is a game. I don't know. I'm conflicted.
I would backstab someone I just met 3 weeks ago for another $100,000. I would, and I'm.
God, you didn't even think about it, Bergie. You didn't even, you didn't even think. You were like, no, I would definitely do it.
It's so funny. Like when I'm sitting there watching Survivor with my grandma, she's hilarious. She'll be like, I would like kill someone for $1 million. Like she's like so into it. She's like, how dumb are they? Why would they trust someone? It's $1 million.
I mean, yeah, it's like, yeah, I feel like, but Eric's like, oh, there's a different line in the sand. Like, I don't know, man. Like, this is like a chance to be somebody different. This is a chance to like play a character and go all out. But like, yes, it would crush. I mean, I would get I know I would get a horrible stomach ache. I know I would stress out about it. But at the same time, I don't know. Like, this isn't the like we always say, this isn't the best friend Traitors. This is the Traitors.
And I think Ari from season 1, like at least during my season, I know he was still upset because he was on a podcast, I think, around that time, and he was still upset about the whole Cerise situation when he got caught as a traitor at the end.
I love Cerise. Cerise like, sorry, dude. Like, Cerise had no apologies. Like, Cerise was great, man.
And she had like the perfect. She's like, Ari doesn't deserve this. Like, he just came in like 2 weeks or 2 days ago.
I don't know you guys, you know?
And like,
Uh,
I even said in the chat BCC group chat, like when this episode started, I'm like, when Eric walked in first, the breakfast room was, I texted the group chat. I was like, Eric is the Ari of this season. Like I even called that happening at the end of this episode.
yeah. So Eric is banished from the castle immediately, and then Mora has this weird smile trying to size Rob up in this moment. And they're like, Mora, are you a faithful or a traitor? And Mora says, I'm sorry. And Rob's face is like, whoa, like what? You're a traitor? And she goes, I'm a faithful. Ha 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 ha. And Rob's like, oh, fuck, man. And then Alan's like, Rob, are you a faithful or a traitor? And he goes, Mora, I am, and then pauses, and I always have been a traitor. And Mora's face drops, and there's a pause, and it's like, I'm so sorry, I'm a traitor. I'm serious. And Mora's like, no, are you joking? And Rob's like, I'm not. The whole game, I've been a traitor. And Mora's like, oh my God, I'm so stupid. I was so fooled by you. You absolute asshole. You pinkied promised. You're a piece of work. And I mean, it was so good. And Alan's face, like even Alan's face, you saw Alan where he was like taking in the gravity of this moment. And it really just, I got chills watching it. And Rob's like, I know. And then Mora's like, I was so convinced. And she goes, you embarrassed me. And Rob goes, no, but you lasted so, and Mora's like, don't speak, please stop talking. And Mora in the talking head goes, oh dear God, I'm a fool. This is why I don't trust anybody ever, because they stab you in the goddamn back. And I was like, damn, Mora. But I mean, and I just imagine so many women out there that have been stabbed in the back by men. It was it was so loaded, you know?
No, it was definitely loaded. And I was definitely thinking in this moment too, I'm like, everybody that's been cheated on is going,
yes,
never trust men. Men are terrible. And I'm going, damn it, Rob.
Yeah, way to go. Thanks a lot, Rob.
Yeah.
And she says to Rob, you're never going to have a girlfriend after this. You're such a good liar. You know, it's like you would have. But then this is when she goes, yeah, but fair play. If I was a traitor, I would have done the same thing. I think I'm just in shock. I thought I was winning. So she's like a really good sport about it after those initial moments. And she goes, he's a bad man, a really bad man, but good for him. Good for him. And, she goes, oh, my days. Rob, you're a fucking snake, but well done. And then Alan's like, Rob, congratulations. You have won the Traitors. And Rob says, it's a weird mix of emotions that I won, but I also betrayed the person I was closest to, so it's bittersweet. And he says, it was an opportunity right in front of me. Would you give $100,000 to someone you met 3 weeks ago? I wouldn't. I can make this money go a long way. I had to think without emotions. And Alan's like, she'll forgive you. And he goes, I don't think she'll ever forgive me, honestly. And then he screams out, I'm sorry, Mora, which is very Stanley Kowalski in A Streetcar Named Desire, which, Bergie, I know you don't know that reference. One. You know A Streetcar Named Desire?
Yes, that's the abusive boyfriend, right?
Yeah, Marlon Brando, A Streetcar Named Desire. Wow, wait.
That was black and white. I read that in my IB English class in 12th grade.
You know a 1950s reference, but you don't know a 1990s O.J. Simpson reference?
See, like
your priorities are screwed up, man.
I know history, but I don't know.
That's crazy. Anyway, so that's the end of that. And then we get to the reunion, which we don't have to spend tons of time on. It is funny. Andy starts in a cloak and then he rips it off and he has Rob's overalls on. And, overall, it was nice to see everybody dressed up and the production value was high. What were the moments that stuck out to you?
I'm trying to think. Gosh, I loved Andy in the overalls to start it. Candace is still very heated about Rob. I thought that
man, she is like a dog with a bone, and this is why I think she's such a good traitor. She's such a winner that she just refuses to give it. Like she's starting to give Rob a couple flowers here and there, but she still will not come off the Colton and Rob were secretly communicating with each other, which I'm sorry. You can think whatever you want about Colton, but they were not secretly communicating. You'll never get me to believe that. I'm sorry. And I love Candace, but no.
Mm-hmm. No, and I won't believe that either, just because it's like, I don't know what the Traitors NDAs are, but I can't imagine it's easy because it's like there's money involved and whatnot. and how
Yeah.
much trouble Rob could get in if he did do that. Like, it would be very serious. And then
Yeah.
also too, like, I guess another highlight, I think the Colton stuff was handled very well. Like, he didn't storm off.
Like
Like
Lisa had, there was a rumor that Colton had stormed off. And what that turned out to be was that I think there was just a break and Colton went to get a cup of coffee or something like that. But we didn't see that. Also, we did not see the Ron Funches and Dorinda. Like, I thought that conversation was going to happen about things that Dorinda had told Ron that Ron said he was going to bring up at the reunion. So I don't know what got edited out. Like, Stephen Coletti barely said anything. Mark Ballas barely said anything. There was a lot of people that didn't really say a lot, but Candace said a lot, and I thought it was very entertaining, and I thought it was insightful, but she really is just not letting go, not wanting to give Rob full props. And I thought Rob handled this very well. Rob was also wearing a Lisa Rinna pin. I don't know if you saw that.
Oh, I did not see that.
Yeah. And also it was said that Maura said she would forgive Rob if he bought her a $10,000 purse. And part of me thinks he's going to do that.
I could see him doing well, especially with all of his other commercials. Like, he's got the huge Sonic commercial. Who knows how much he's getting paid for that?
Yeah, buy Maura a purse, man. Come on.
Yeah.
Donna Kelsey was there and said that Travis and Jason Kelsey, her sons, thought she did a good job and that she was brutal. And we found out that Taylor Swift and her parents, they do watch the game.
I hope they watch my season.
Oh my God. Could you imagine if Taylor Swift knows who you are, Bergie?
I know that'd be kind of crazy, just a little bit. But like, I wonder if she saw me at like a concert, would she know? Probably not. Probably not.
Bergie, if you see Taylor go, I'm Bergie from the second season of Traitors. You liked my show. Yeah.
You know who I am, right?
Bergie gets tackled by 10 security guards.
Oh, what was it? I was trying to think. There was another highlight in there, but I'm blanking on it.
Yeah, Candace says with Colton, letting Colton get murdered, we were, like really helped Rob's game. Candace brings up Colton helping him. And, Rinna says her most iconic moment was the banquet moment. And she was very proud of the meme of her in a cage. Rinna thinks like a true housewife. And Bergie, you're not really that familiar with this world, but it's really like memes are currency in this world. And so Rinna, she's still so backwards thinking. In some way, like sometimes Rinna still frustrates me greatly because she's iconic and she's very fun, but like she'll like if somebody gives her Rinna's obviously in the comments. It's like Rinna's reading the comments. Rinna, like, even with the Colton situation, like it's like Rinna reads things and then she'll bring that up in a scenario. And I don't think it's actually Rinna's thoughts. She's just bringing up what the audience wants her to bring up. And sometimes that kind of infuriates me because I'm like, Rinna, this is not, you're trying to do this to create a moment and you don't really mean it. And she had a big, she tried to really make a moment with the Colton saying hostage line. Like she really, that was a part where I was kind of like, Rinna, at this point, like, yes, we all do not have to like Colton. What he did 6 years ago is horrendous. I'm going to talk more about that briefly in a second. But at this moment, it's very aware now that you had a friendship with Colton based on this game. And then once you were told about all this information, you backtracked on that. And yet you were still nice to his face. And then you would go in the press and slag him off. And you have every right to not like Colton, but don't be nice to his face then when the cameras aren't rolling.
No, yeah, you can't have it two-sided. You have to be like, there's integrity with that. And I think Colton's probably pissed about that too, where, on camera and like on social media, she's saying one thing and then face to face, she's doing another thing. I think like if you're going to block someone on social media, which I've done in the past for a couple of people, and it's like, I can't go in the public now and say I'm still friends with these people. It's like, no, I'm not. Like, you can't have it both ways.
That must take a lot for you to block somebody, Bergie.
Yeah, it's normally like they post something racist or do something. So
yeah, I mean, even me, like there'll be people that like truly hate me, like, and it's like there's nothing you can do, and it's like I try to not block them, but if it gets too much, you have to eventually do it because you got to go about your day. You can't just sit there arguing with people all day,
Yeah, it's like there's a line. It's just like, yeah, you can't be saying one thing and then doing the opposite of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, and that's what makes me mad is like when you're saying one thing and like being supportive of like a group, but then you're doing the opposite. Like, I don't care if you're the other way, but like you can't
be consistent, basically. If you know, like, you have every right to not like Colton, but don't be nice to his face and then try to show off for the audience.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
So they make fun of Eric being wrong about the laugh and the handwriting in terms of the clues earlier in the game. He says he feels stupid for trusting Rob, but he seems to be good-spirited about that. Rob, what did you think of Rinna and Candace? He says, I was assuming that they would eventually team up on me. And they're like, no, he wouldn't. And they're like, yeah, you definitely would have done something, which I do believe, even though Candace and Rinna, who are losers of this game, swear that they wouldn't. And Rob's like, I'm sorry, but the ship was sinking. You were going to go, Lisa, so I had to be on the right side of history. You know, it's like, and so he was once again kind of using the chess metaphor of like, you got to think 3 games down the road. Like, you might be okay tonight and tomorrow night, but we got to think down the road. And once Lisa's name was out there, how much do you buy into this? Rob kept saying.
Oh, no, I fully support it. Like, you have to honestly, like, if your name gets brought up at a round table in like the second episode, like the longest you can probably make it is episode 5 or 6. You're not making it to episode 7.
Yeah. Candace kind of teases that she was given a piece of information by Colton. He shared something with me that fired up my grit, she says. So this is before Colton had come out. And Candace tells Rob, I would respect you more if you just admitted you wanted to go to the inn by yourself. So Candace is under the assumption that Rob, his whole plan this whole time was to win by himself. What did you think of that?
You know, I think probably in the beginning, it was Rob probably had it like maybe 90%. That's hard because I think in the
I
beginning.
think once he got Candace out, he was going to win by himself.
Oh, yeah, I believe that too. And I think maybe once Lisa was sinking, he started thinking about winning by himself. And then especially once Candace voted for him at the round table, the throwaway vote, he's like, yeah, now I'm finishing by myself.
But if he really was planning to win by himself, I also think he would have been good-natured enough to share that with us at the reunion of like, you know what? I did come in with a little bit of a strategy.
Yeah, and like this, he doesn't benefit from lying at the reunion at all.
Yeah.
Like, he's already got the money. Why would he lie about it?
Candace does admit that she was going out planting seeds of doubt about Rob. And Rob's like, I never brought your name up, Candace. We would have gone to the end. And Candace is like, that is poppycock. You are a smart man. You would have done it. Maura comes out and Maura seems, very, very kind of like forgiving now. And Rob does point out, I only pinky promised you that I would vote Eric out. I didn't pinky promise you to win.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought that was interesting. It was a technicality, but he's right.
Well, and he did the same thing with Eric. He's like, let's get to the end together. He never said, let's win together. It was always,
yeah,
we're going to get to the end together. I promise you that. It was never, let's win together.
Donna points out that the whole house really did trust Rob because Andy keeps bringing up the undeniable chemistry between Maura and Rob. And Donna was like, yeah, the whole cast loved Rob. So they talk about the flirting moment, which we already talked about. Johnny and Tara joined from the Olympics. Colton says Rob voting him out was a game-winning move. So Colton, even though they were besties, it didn't, he's not holding it against Rob. And Candace says, you said to me that Rob told you I was a traitor. And Rob says, whoa, there are very strict rules in this game. Why would I risk it? Rob says, Colton says Candace was backing Lisa up. Colton says, well, seeing you in the press saying that we were cheating, I played hard, but I played with integrity. I would never cheat in this game. And Rob says, what Colton was doing was good for my game. Colton says, Rob didn't speak much, but a lot of our conversation, there were a lot of nonverbals. And so I do believe that there was never a tip-off of like, I'm a traitor and they're traitors.
Yeah. If that was the case, I feel like Colton would be holding Rob hostage instead of going to Lisa and holding her hostage.
Exactly. So they bring up the Rinna promise to protect you in the round table if you protect me in the turret. Why didn't you? But they do ask, like, Rinna, why didn't you bring up that moment at the round table? And Rinna's like, what do you mean? You said you wanted to. And that's when she goes, what did you mean when you said you wanted to take me hostage as a traitor? And Colton says, I would have rather kept you in to flip it on another traitor. We've never seen that before. So he's basically saying, and by the way, when he used that word, it's a poor choice of words based on his past, but I know what I'm not an idiot. I know what he meant.
Yeah. No, he had a good argument for like Lisa, like, oh, you were going to hold me hostage. And his comeback was like, you said you were going to slit my throat. Like, it's a game. It's not like,
yeah. Well, and then Rinna once again goes, interesting use of the word hostage. And Colton says, well, I'm sorry, but in the turret, you said you wanted to slit my fucking throat in the context of the game.
Yeah.
And I mean, that is true. Rinna did say that. So if we're going to pull that out, you got to pull like, well, you threatened to slit my throat. And Rinna goes, I can look at you and say whatever I want. And it was just weird. It was like, but it was like, Rinna, like, I know you're wanting a moment here and you're wanting a Housewives moment. But Colton did not want to give that to you. And Colton said, Andy's like, what's your response to all the people talking about you? And Colton says, if you watch me as a bachelor in 2019, I went through an incredibly difficult couple of years. I put in a lot of work. I never thought how I played Traitors, this would get brought up. One of my darkest moments of my life. It's a challenging thing to go through. I was not in a great place. So that's what he said about this. Andy said, thank you for sharing. And that was kind of dropped at that point, right?
Yeah, I would say at that point in the reunion, it was dropped.
Yeah.
And I feel like I don't know what can else be said besides that. And I'm glad
in the context of this game, you know, nothing else can be said. Rinna was just excited that she lasted close to 7 episodes because she wanted to wear the dress that she had the amulet on, which is so fun. Dorinda said that the season she got kicked off. She just wanted to wear all the clothes that she bought. And that's another difference between housewives and gamers. Like, they really thought a lot about their wardrobe. And I challenge housewives from this point on. Yes, think about your wardrobe, but think more about game. Like, think about how you can, seriously, think about how you're going to be a housewife that can win this thing. Like, and I think Candace was close, but just like game it out. Like, housewives can be gamers. Just stop worrying so much about the facade of it all and the game, really lean in.
Watch Dolores on season 3. She did.
Shut up. No. But Rinna says, she loves being the center of attention, and that's why she loved the amulet. Kristen Kish did point out that she's on Bravo too, because Candace didn't realize Top Chef was on Bravo, which I thought was funny. Portia was shocked. Portia shocked about the Rinna vote. And Portia was upset and broke all the Lisa Rinna lip liners. Lisa Rinna, Bergie, used to have a company called Rinna Beauty, but we found out tonight that company went out of business. Did you see Portia? Portia Donna kind of came for Portia for a second. Did you see that?
I saw that. They were having a heated discussion. I'm going, what the heck is going on? Like, Donna's like so calm about it. And like,
yeah.
Andy had to step in and was like, okay, we're going to the next thing here.
Yeah, I like Portia was like, Mama, respectfully. And Donna was like, no, I'm sorry. And I was like, damn, Donna stood up to Portia. That's wild.
Yeah. I loved it. I loved it.
No, it was great. It was great. Rinna also, and this is something that you don't know, but like, obviously Rinna was on Housewives. She was on for 8 seasons, and Rinna still has such a weird relationship with the Housewives. And Rinna goes, she was talking to Caroline Stanberry, and Caroline's like, well, Rinna's made a great career out of being a villain, so I don't, she was a great traitor. And she said she did 8 years as a villain. Or Rinna said something of like, basically like, my whole career I haven't been a villain, just 8 years on Housewives. And Andy was like, come on, you weren't a villain the whole time on Housewives. But it just kind of shows like, but Lisa did turn into a villain on Housewives. Anyways, they have all these stupid sketches, like instead of Love Island, they did Love Highland, which was funny, but I would have rather had more talk about the game. Michael Rappaport said he talked to Dolores before he came on the Traitors, which I was like, oh, great. He took advice from Dolores, like you were just saying. He said he was a kid in a candy store with the Housewives. I voted for Portia because my integrity was on the line, Michael said. And then Portia got into it with Michael. Portia's like, you used me to make a scene, and then you turned around and voted for me. And Michael says, you need to know how to use your words, Portia. Clip! Because Dorinda has a famous line where she says clip all the time on Housewives, Bergie. And Andy's like, come on, guys, this isn't a Housewives reunion. We find out that Michael reached out to Colton Underwood and apologized to him. He says, I like to talk trash, but I don't want to hurt feelings. Then like he gets into it with Johnny Weir as well. It was just really gross. Rob Sesternino comes out, said he's glad he didn't participate in the conga line. Rob says Survivor is a very different game. You know all the info going in, and Traitors, you can't even trust your allies. You don't know if you're being played the whole time. So Traitors is more of a mind F. We talk about Ian Terry being a genius. Ian says he wishes he was dumber on the plane ride home. And that was pretty much it. Did anything else stick out to you?
No, I think that covered like the whole reunion there.
Yeah, it did. I mean, it was not tons of information.
No, and I feel like I don't know, like, because I don't watch Bravo reunions. Like, all I've really seen is like the old Survivor reunions and like the 4 seasons of Traitor reunions now, and then like the Love Island reunions. I don't know if this is a good reunion or a bad reunion. I
It's what it is because it's only an hour. And Housewives reunions are now so bloated. They do like 3-hour reunions, like over 3 weeks. And
Mhm.
so, it's fun to see everybody. I think the real conversations that are being had about the Traitors are on podcasts. And I don't even mean this one, but like on Rob's or the Traitors official podcast. You're not going to have fascinating discussion. Like you're going to hope for moments. So you got to have Candace and Rob face each other or Lisa and Colton face each other. So that in itself is kind of exciting. But overall, it's what it is.
yeah, and like I feel like we get like some closure overall just to the
Yeah.
season. Like that's pretty much all we normally get from these. It's not like we've learned anything like that we didn't see, like crazily that changed the game.
I do wonder because the casting of the Traitors, they have to be sending out offers pretty soon.
Oh, I would imagine. Well, I think they filmed. I don't know if they're gonna keep filming in the spring, but the past 2 seasons they filmed in the spring, so I would imagine they'd reach out like September. Because like when I was talking to people on my season, they got reached out to, like, some of them got reached out a year before.
I would imagine casting's done.
Yeah, I would imagine casting's
Yeah.
pretty much done. Like, they're not casting anybody
Yeah.
brand new. If anything, they're
And
probably casting for season 7, like, we're already working on season 7.
but also remember they're hard at work on casting the normie version that's going to air on NBC.
Mhm. Well, do you think we're getting 2 seasons this year, right? Or is
Yep.
this gonna be the normal yeah. So I would imagine they've already casted their season 6, and they're working on season 7 right now too
Oh my
for
God. Okay.
celebrities.
Two last things. These are quick articles that came out in the last day. And this is really interesting. Lisa Rinna, trouble really follows her everywhere, but this is a really dark story, was that at the Traitors premiere at the Abbey, which is one of the biggest gay bars in the world in West Hollywood, Lisa Rinna alleges she was drugged at the Traitors season 4 premiere party, claims she tested positive for fentanyl. And she was asked about this on a newscast, even though TMZ did a story earlier this week about this. She was doing an appearance on Good Day New York, and she revealed she had fentanyl in her system. And she says, I'm not kidding. I had fentanyl, high levels of amphetamines, and other things. But I can't talk a lot about it because we're still dealing with it. It was leaked, and my team is dealing with it now. Luckily, my husband was there and was able to get me out of there quickly because I saw other things like, oh, Lisa was just drunk, but no. And she's like, there were so many people there, so many people that I know have had this happen at the venue. And I will say, I do know friends that have been at the Abbey that have had their drinks spiked. But I do wonder, like, how that happens to Lisa Rinna. I just figured they were sectioned off from just like the normies that were there to watch. But that's a really dark story that she
Mhm.
tested positive for fentanyl.
Yeah, that can kill you.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
but she said, and other substances as well. So, and in the TMZ article, it said Colton Underwood was the one that like kind of like took care of her a little bit. So I thought that was interesting as well.
That's crazy.
I think Colton might, I mean, because Colton was quoted in the TMZ and I was like, oh my God, did Colton leak this? Did Colton? No, I mean, like, I was like, how did it get leaked? And like, I was like, well, in TMZ, they used Colton's name. So it was like his rep's the one that leaked it to like, I don't know. It was just interesting.
Mhm.
And then the final story was just the Colton Underwood. He did do an interview with Vanity Fair today. And he talked about all of this. And and this is just interesting in terms of casting, because a lot of people ask this. He said, I met with production, I met with Peacock, and I was like, I'm down to do this show because this show is about strategy. It is about the game. It is about traitors. It is not personal. My only ask is like, if I do this, I don't want people to bring up anything outside of the game. I have a family now, right? I'm so far past what happened 6 years ago. So he was very open and honest with casting about not wanting this to be brought up. And for the most part, it was not brought up. But the audience brought it up. And they can't protect him from the audience.
No, It was one of his old cast members from The Bachelor that brought it up. Was it Demi? Can't remember.
Oh yeah,
It was oh,
the girl that revealed she was on the spectrum.
oh, probably, but it was her. She brought it up, and that it was like a big deal to her that he was still getting shows, but not the girl that he won the Bachelor with.
Yeah,
What was it? Randolph, Cassie Randolph.
Cassie. Yeah. But he says, since 2020, I've put a lot of work into myself. I worked with almost every network. I've shown up as a professional. I've shown up as a human being. I've taken accountability. I can sit here and tell you I've changed all the time. I think better than that. I can point to the last 6 years of my life. I'm proud of who I've become. I'm proud of the man that I am. I'm proud of the husband that I am and the father that I am. I am really proud of the growth and the work that I put in. This perception of who I was at my lowest point in my life is not who I am when I work with these companies, when I work with these people, when I show up on television. And so he is putting this out. He also said that if Cassie ever did want to talk to him, he was never going to force that situation, but he is always there if that conversation wants to be had. So I don't know. Those were his public statements to Vanity Fair. You can feel however you want to feel about this, guys. I'm just putting out there because this was a big topic of conversation. And a lot of people are going to say, well, he's doing this to protect his ass because he did bring up working with these companies. But that's, I guess that's what he considers his business. What did you think of all of that?
Good on him for like announcing it and bringing it to the public, because I feel like people
We kind of had to.
Yeah, he definitely had to if he wanted to get more work in TV. I feel like from a public audience perspective, like they don't want him on TV. Is the vibe I was getting for the most part.
Well, I mean, that's the question I have though, Bergie, is that in today's society, it's painful, and it's painful sometimes for the audience because it triggers and there's so much that goes into it. But is there any aspect of this where production goes, well, it creates drama and we love drama. People are out there tweeting about it. They're threading about it. They're making posts about it. Like, is any attention good attention?
I would say, like,
you're a good guy though. You would say no.
I'm a believer in the bad attention is good attention for like the big companies and maybe for the show. I don't like it, but if that's what gets them their money that they need to keep the show going, then good on them, I guess.
No, I do wonder if that's ever thought about. Like, it would make my heart feel good to be like, no, we don't want bad attention. We just want people to love it. But there is something in me, and maybe it's just like the Housewives viewer in me, that sometimes thinks, oh, they're craving, they want to rage bait people. Like, sometimes I do wonder if they want a little bit of that out there.
Like the Michael Rappaport casting too. Do you think that had
exactly? Well, exactly. Yeah. But Michael doesn't do him like Colton. I'm not standing up for Colton at all, but he is apologizing left, right, and center, and he should be. But Michael Rappaport is doing none of that. He's like, yeah, I did reach out, but then he's yelling at Johnny Weir on the reunion, and so I watched that, and I'm like, okay, at this point, this has got to be a bit. Yeah. Like, this has got to be a bit because you want to make a moment because you want to get your name out there a little bit.
No, I can see that too. Yeah, I don't like bad attention. Like, I don't like, the typical like. Yeah, like, would I have casted Colton with this history? Probably not, but that's just me as being Bergie. But Peacock, do what you want, because I
just wonder if there will be like a Colton rule from this point on of like, hey guys, we really got to think about how the fans, we got to really think that this is how the fans react to these things. We got to be better about that. Or if they are really, or if they, I can tell it might have surprised them because they have not like fully protected Colton, but they've been very nice to him,
Yeah, and especially like death threats online and like people finding your network and
come on, man. You can be mad at somebody, but I think the majority of my audience, we all know it's like, yeah, we're not going to don't threaten anybody. Come on, man. Like, we're all better than that. Like, you can say whatever you want, but like when it comes to like threats and stuff, like there's no we don't never go down to somebody else's level. It's like my mom always said that. Don't do that. We're all better than that. Like, that's not the world we want to live in. The world I want to live in is continuing to work with Bergie. So, hey, there might be something coming, so look out for it. But how did your midterms go this week?
passed every single one. It was rough.
Okay, but does pass just mean a D? Did we
No,
do
so
better?
actually in my program, you can't get below a 73% on an exam.
Okay.
So
you did great.
I did great. So yeah, it was A's and B's across the board.
Heck yeah, we did. So, all right, you guys, we put out the good energy for Bergie so we can take credit for this.
Yes. Also, one bad thing though is
Uh-oh.
I literally have an exam on Monday after spring break. So I don't know why they gave me spring break before I finished all my midterms. So I still have like 2 midterms left next week.
Wait, is spring break this week for you?
Yeah, I get Thursday, Friday off. And then Saturday, Sunday. It's not a week. PT school's in the doctorate program. It's not an undergrad thing. So
okay,
like
so you're getting on the flight in a couple of hours and you're getting out of town, right?
Yeah, I leave at 4. It's probably, what time is it?
12?
12 my time for sure. Yeah, so I get up in 2 hours.
You guys follow Bergie on Instagram, Cameo, all of that good stuff. Bergie, thank you for doing another season of the Traitors, and I will be talking to you later this week, you guys. Thanks, man. And you guys come back. We'll do it. We're still doing Southern Charm, and Real Housewives of Beverly Hills will be in the Sunday slot instead of the Traitors. Have a great start to your weekend. Bye, guys.